Hello guys, welcome to Java Flow channel. So today I will explore a comprehensive set of example that covers various Java multi-threading concept using the theme of college and student management system. So let's get started. So before moving into examples, right? First I will tell you what Java thread is. In simple terms, Java thread can be thought of as a separate flow of execution within a program. It allows multiple tasks or processes to run concurrently, meaning they can execute simultaneously or on interleaved manner. Think of thread as a worker in a restaurant. In a restaurant, there can be different tasks to be performed, such as taking order, cooking food, and serving customers. Each of these tasks can be assigned to separate worker or thread so that they can work independently and concurrently. Some of the real-time use cases of Java threads include user interface responsiveness. So in a GUI application, right, thread can be used to keep the user interface responsive while performing time-consuming tasks in the background. For example, when you click a button in a program, right, thread can be created to perform requested action such as loading a data from database without freezing the user interface. So multiplayer game is one such examples. So thread can be used to update the state of the game and updating the scores and updating the user status. So web server is another example. Like when handling multiple client requests in a web server, right? Threads can be employed to process each request independently. Each incoming request can be assigned to a separate thread, allowing user to handle multiple requests. Yeah, so these are the real-time examples. Let's get into the examples of creating a thread. So as you see, right, this is our student thread. Uh, this is our student thread class. We have extended the using thread class. Threads can be implemented in either two ways. One is extending thread class and implementing the runnable interface. So we'll look into both example. First, we'll see how to implement using the thread class. So we have to extend our class with the thread class. So we have to implement the run method in it. So here what I have done is in the run method, I have just printed the thread name and I have just printed student thread is running. So consider main thread. So every Java application has a single thread. So main application is running in a separate thread. So once we start the main application, right, the student thread will be allocated as a separate task and it will be executed by the separate thread. So let me run this so that we can see the differences. Yeah, if you see, right, the first output is when the main thread starts, right, the thread name is main thread dot current thread dot get name will give the current name of the thread. So once we have created the method student thread, right, we can start the thread using the start method of that object. So the start method is the method in the thread class. So once you started, right, it will invoke the run method. You don't need to call the run method directly. So the next step we will see how to implement using runnable interfaces. So the same like if you see, right. So we have to implement the runnable because thread is a class and runnable is a interface. If you see, right, runnable is a interface here. And if you go to the thread, right, thread is a class. So that's the reason we have implemented the thread interfaces. Just understand that why we have implemented the implement the runnable interfaces the same way. Like in so what we have to do is to invoke the runnable method, right? We have to create a thread class. In the thread class, right, we have to pass the runnable object. So if you go inside that thread class, right, you will see the constructor parameter which accept the runnable target. So we will just provide the runnable interface. So it will be invoked. So we'll run this. Yeah, so see, right, this is same as our thread creation. So as a next question, right, what we'll be seeing is thread sleep. So why we have to sleep our thread? So assume that we have a main thread which is executing and we have created some other thread. some other user thread, and that is taking some long time to processing. Here I have just sleep that thread, but assume that that thread is making an API call, or that thread is connecting with the database to fetch some data, so it will take some time. So in that, right, what we can do is we can process uh, some other task which is running the main method. So in this, right, you will see I have created a student thread. I in try block, right, once it is entered in the try block, I have slept that thread. This is just a simulation process. This thread was waiting for 5 minutes, 5 seconds, and in the meantime, right, our main thread will be executing it. So in main thread, right, we have started the thread. Here we have started the thread, and it will go in the wait state here. So if it goes in the wait state, right, main thread will start executing it. So in main thread, right, we are printing the number from 1 to 10. So it you will see the output. So after it is printed, right, we will get the output of student thread is completed. Uh, output. Yeah, as you see, right, it is taking some time, like because we have slept the thread for 5 seconds, right? So student thread is running once we have started the thread, and it is taking some time, and it is printing all the numbers in the range, and finally it prints the student thread is completed. So the next step for what they are doing is thread priority will cover it. So thread priority is nothing but assume that you will be having different threads, which means a different task you have to execute it. But you can assign the priority. Like first thing is you have to take the orders. Then only you can proceed with preparing that order. So first the priority will go to first taking the orders. So here just consume that I have created two different student priority thread, and the first thread priority is min priority. So there are different state that you can define the priority. So if you see here, right, minimum priority is 1 and the maximum priority is 2, and the normal priority, if you don't define anything, right, the default priority that is assigned to the thread is 5. So once if you assigned it, right, if the thread is running in a different order, right, the max priority thread will be executed first. So if I run this program, right, because if you see that I am running the min priority thread first, but my JVM will execute the thread which has the highest priority. You see, right, the student thread is running with the priority of 10 because that is assigned with the maximum priority. So next concept is join. Yeah. So thread join is a most important concept. Like for example, you have different threads. Which is making one thread is making an API call, and other thread is making an third-party service to get the metadata. But if you want to complete your main execution, right, you have to wait for other threads. For example, you need the data from the database, and you need the metadata from the other service. So then only you can proceed with your main execution. So in that case, right, you can use it. So if you see that it at line number 18, we are starting the thread. If you see that once you started the thread, it will start executing this line. And what we have done here is here we have simulated 1 second, like a time we are going to wait it. And if you see here, right, we are calling the join method. So what it does is, like, it will our main thread will wait until this thread gets executed. So if you see, right, our main thread resumes after student thread completes will be printed after the student thread completed. So let me run it. You will see the difference. So first output is student thread is waiting, and student thread is completed, and the last step is main thread resumes after student thread completes. So let me increase the time so that you will see it very clearly. See, right, our student thread is running. It is waiting for 5 seconds. Yeah, you see, right? So what happens if I don't call the join method here? If I don't call the join method, right, we don't need to catch its exception. So this method will be, I mean, main thread will start its execution. Let me just show that. Yeah, we have this just, you see, right? Our main thread itself is getting started first. So we are, since we are not calling the join method, right? Before that, it will be executing it. So this is the difference of this is the uses of join. You want to wait for other thread to complete the process so that you can proceed it, right? You have to use join. Just to think of this is a task which you are executing independently. I mean dependently. Like you have to wait for the other task to complete it. Yeah. So do let me know if you have any doubt in comment section.